Hello and welcome to One Word Podcast, the most why am I watching this podcast to ever exist. And today I'm joined by Erik. Erik, can you tell us what you do?
Well, I am a computer consultant for a secondary education company, but I also am a politician locally representing District 4 for the Brown County Supervisors.
All right, so you get to yell with a whole bunch of other people in a crowded room, right?
We try to. It's hard not to yell sometimes. That's true, but we keep it down a little.
You try and keep it civil.
Mm-hmm.
Try. That's the important word, right?
There is no try.
Only do. All right, so I hope you know how this works. I hope our team debriefed you.
It was a very subtle debriefing, so.
It was, hey, we're going to make a fool out of you. Let's go. Right?
That's right.
No, don't worry. It would be fun. So I have 2 words that were randomly selected, and I'm going to give them to you, and you get to choose one of them, and that's going to be our podcast episode.
Okay.
All right, so here are the 2 words that you get to choose from. Advertisement and treason.
Wow. I'm going to go with advertisement. That sounds.
All right, they're both fun words. Why not treason? Do you just not want to get in trouble by betraying people?
No, just wanted a more positive bent. So.
You want to advertise yourself a little,
Yes,
huh?
exactly.
All right, so advertisement. Advertising is ubiquitous with America, I'd say. It's well known that we've got a lot of ads. What does the word advertisement mean to you?
Well, it means a couple of things. I kind of watch ads with a critical eye. I think a lot of times it's telling you what you don't need and why you need it. And for me, every once in a while an ad will pop up and it'll be like, yes, I do need more hamburger or whatever it is that's being advertised. And that's very helpful. And to kind of become aware of things that's sort of, for me, the use of advertisement. But I've dedicated much of my adult life to try to avoid advertisements and everything from pop-up blockers to watching TV on the DVR or just on streaming or a Netflix type service. Try to avoid it as much as possible because I think it's insulting, it's monotonous.
Misleading.
Absolutely. And there is something, when you're selling a product, there is something about saying, about getting the person to sort of feel bad about themselves for not having it. And that's unhealthy. But it's also it's always interested me as well. It was sort of one of those 3rd or 4th string careers that I would have been interested in perhaps, but other paths.
Advertising's interesting. Not all advertising is bad, but there's a lot of bad advertising. A lot of misleading, all that. You mentioned that you try and avoid advertisements when you can. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say it's completely impossible to completely rid your life of all ads.
Oh, absolutely. And I think they've, those when they try to tuck them in like a TV show, like, suddenly the lead character's like, wow, this is a nice Buick. And you're like, oh, come on, really?
Or when, wow, every single person in this entire show is using a Windows phone.
I think those are mostly the sci-fi ones, personally, but
it is certainly fiction.
Yes.
I'm just going to let that joke linger for a second. I definitely think advertisements gotten a lot more, what would be the word? Coercive? A lot more hidden.
Well, I think they do try to be sneaky. I mean, I lived back in the days where sort of subliminal advertisement was an issue or was something that they were trying to play with.
Thanks, E.T.
Absolutely. But, you pretty much, if you grew up when I did, you pretty much can't look at a package of Camel cigarettes and not think about Joe Camel and his penis face, you know.
I think you just got the award for best line ever said in this entire podcast history. So, well done, sir. I have been bested. Where do you go from that?
Only way to go is down after that, I suppose. So.
I want to talk about the type of advertising that I really think about as being the worst are pharmaceuticals. You know, where you have, make up a pill name, Paranax. Take some Paranax. It'll clear your runny nose. Side effects of Paranax may include death.
Absolutely, yeah.
Death, runny nose, low interest rate on your house, high interest rate on your credit cards.
It's true, yeah. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies, it's been really interesting because there was a shift earlier where, like back in the 90s and early 2000s, where pharmaceutical companies had a much more insidious relationship with doctors. Even as a physician spouse, I'd go out for fancy dinners, thanks to, Veramax or whatever, drug we're making.
Hey, this steak really makes me think that Xanax is good.
Exactly. It was interesting. I know this seems to be where I keep going. Ironically, I had a number of pens from all sorts of different companies, including a Cipro pen before everyone knew about anthrax, and Cipro was a cure. But the funniest pen I had actually was a clickable Viagra pen, which didn't come out. It broke. So
it didn't pop out when it was needed?
No, it didn't.
I'll tell you what. If this whole podcast thing doesn't work out, my dream job, be the guy who reads the side effects of pills really, really fast. Just all happy and going, side effects may include these horrible things that are going to kill you. And then you're going to need more pills.
Well, it's either that or put it in a really small print. I mean, the regulations that require that are pretty strict. So you'll either have this sort of people in a tub and do this, or you'll have to actually talk about the different.
What is with the people in the tub thing? It's a common theme, especially with pills that help with certain issues.
I gotta say, I've lived in a bunch of homes. I've house hunted all around the country, and I've never seen a house with 2 bathtubs. So I'm not sure.
My favorite is I don't remember the medication, but it's an alternative to Viagra. And they do the whole bathtub thing with 2 bathtubs, but it's outdoors.
Sure.
What is up with that?
There's some rainwater feels so comforting.
Hey, look, there's a bee. It's crawling up my nose. Wow. No, this isn't a bird bath. Shoo. What's really fascinating to me with advertisements, though, is that some people look forward to them. I mean, how many times in your life have you heard, I only watch the Super Bowl for the ads?
Well, yeah, I mean, that has become such a thing. It's become such a thing that now you can get many of the ads sort of before the Super Bowl. So they've kind of, to build up excitement for it or whatnot. Obviously, there are those that only play during the Super Bowl, but the amount of money that's on the line, it's almost like a gambling. It's almost like watching gambling. And there's so much money that they put into having a 30-second or 1-minute advertisement during that broadcast that people are excited about who are the winners and who are the losers and who was gross and who got people talking. And
even more so than the actual game.
Right. Absolutely.
I don't even know how many times I've heard people like, I don't know who's playing, but I'm really excited to hear what Doritos is up to.
And again, then you can go onto YouTube and it's like you're watching ads, but then you get ads
on the ads.
Yeah, to watch the ads.
You're like, before I watch this Doritos advertisement, here's a Bud Light advertisement.
But it's gonna
Skip that. I want to get to my ads. Come on.
Well, and if they spent that much money and time and energy into it, the little 15-second job is gonna pale in comparison anyway.
Right. It's amazing, like, how our culture just revolves around ads. So my real question, everyone has one, despite how you're kind of a critic of ads. I kind of am too. What's your favorite?
You know, one of the ones that just, you think about stick-with-itness and, a sticky ad that has, every time we talk about the Super Bowl, it's brought up. That 1984 ad by Apple was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was really well done. And there's a reason we still talk about it, because
it was the first and possibly the only time where an advertisement was truly art.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important, and it's honestly one of the big important parts of our culture. I mean, how many times have you seen it parodied?
Oh, absolutely.
So I agree with that. You know what my favorite are? And I can't label out a specific one. Cereal commercials. The ones with the psychotic mascot that's like, no, you cannot have my cereal. Either it be a small Irishman, they're after me, insert cereal name that I don't know if I can say on a podcast. Or blank is for kids.
Yeah, they're all very selfish.
Yeah,
but the rabbit, the
rabbit,
leprechaun,
the leprechaun, the
count,
the count,
and it's funny because it kind of translates into it creates a model for children to be selfish about their cereal, and obviously the chemicals, the sugar in it is doing enough of a job, but it kind of reinforces that sort of, this is my cereal.
This is my cereal, yo. Get your own.
Exactly.
I got my cereal, I got my Apple computer, and I got a sledgehammer. Man, ads are great. This has been a fun episode.
Oh, good.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts? I don't want it to end. Do you have any final thoughts on advertisements?
Well, I think there have been enough. We hear about how many we see in our lifetime, and it is incredible, that number. I'm not sure exactly, but the millions of minutes or the millions of types of ads we're going to see. So it's definitely a place where there's a lot of average, and so I think it's an area where we do recognize quality, because we're consumers of ads, not just of what the products are, but of ads themselves. And I think we're savvy enough and canny enough to really see what's going on and to kind of be critical of those product placements.
This is turning into a really deep conversation.
Sorry,
no, that's great. That's great. I definitely agree with you on that. We can tell when it's like, or like, that ad was all right. It didn't ruin my life for the next 3 minutes. It does amaze me how many ads there are and how much they stick with people. I'd be willing to bet that like 90% of Americans can name more brand names than they can elements of the periodic table.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Boron! Let's go. Nike, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. It's an interesting thing because, I'd safely say that advertisements are the most common thing in our lives, more than other people.
They don't keep you warm.
No. Unless it's an advertisement for like glove warmers.
That's true.
Yeah. And if you guys out there listening to this podcast would like to advertise here on this podcast, you could totally do that. Look at that.
That's really the best way to advertise.
Advertise on this specific podcast, not any others, right here. It's got your stamp of approval, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so if you guys want to do that, you can find more information at www.onewordpodcast.com. There might be advertisements there, too. You can also find us on Facebook. There may be advertisements there as well. You can find us on Twitter. Probably going to be ads there, too. We don't mean for there to be ads there, but there are. It's kind of just how the internet works. Do you have any final advertisements you'd like to give out there? Ads for yourself, maybe?
Well, I just yeah. I mean, if we're talking about products that you believe in, that's it's a lot like sales, and so selling yourself and advertising yourself, or a podcast such as this, that's the sweet spot. That's where you want to be. So.
And if someone wants to go out there and find you and say, hey, I like that Apple ad too. It was totally rad.
Well, I'd love to become Facebook friends. Erik Hoyer, or my supervisor position has a Facebook page as well, or you could reach me at EW_Hoyer at brown.co.wi.us.
It's such a crazy email system, huh?
Why not?
All right. Well, thank you for that advertisement for yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for coming on the show. This was seriously been a barrel of laughs. Speaking of barrels, have you tried new barrel? I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm just going to say goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.